Okay, you're listening to a career advice webinar by the Royal Australian Chemical Institute, the Professional Association for Chemists in Australia. I'm Dave Samet, coordinator of the RACI Mentoring and Careers Program. Today, we bring together a panel of recruitment and careers experts to offer direct, tailored and specific advice to the job seekers present. These events have a great history. At least one job seeker has found a job as a direct result of their participation in almost every one of our Careers Hack events so far, and we are hoping to repeat that success tonight. Over the course of the event, we will invite members of the audience to raise their hand, and we'll have a chat with you about your circumstances and career aspirations. We'll help you prepare an individual job search strategy, as well as provide you general advice and guidance, possibly some introductions as well to follow. So if you're interested in getting direct assistance, start putting your hand up. There's a little hand raise feature in Zoom. I do note that we'll be asking your permission to include you in tonight's recording, but if you say no, then we'll edit you out before that goes live. Job seekers, okay. I'm joined tonight by Yovana Shabat, Recruitment and Client Services Manager for CS Executive Recruitment, and Patricia Rushton, Senior HR Advisor for Australian Laboratory Services. Yovana, does CS Executive still run the UniWorks program?
Over the last 2 years, since COVID, not really, because of the numbers and split shifts and not wanting to have additional.
About that. ALS
but it hasn't happened, unfortunately.
Fair play, I get it. And ALS is one of Australia's largest commercial analytical laboratories, with over 50 labs in Australia across a diverse range of fields, particularly environmental, pharmaceutical and geochemical. Before we start this evening's session properly, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting all around Australia. We recognise the elders past, present and emerging, and recognise their contributions as Australia's first scientists and engineers. We'd also like to thank the sponsors of RACI Careers Development, DCS Technical, Envirolab and Laboratory Credit Union. So there we go. Now, we've already had a nice chat with Diksha and Rania, so I'm going to ask anybody else who's here to put their hand up. Who would like to talk about?
Salma did.
Okay, great. Salma first, and then Eddie. Okay, Salma, do you want to turn on your video and sound, and we'll jump in?
Me myself?
Yeah, Salma, absolutely.
Okay.
Your hand is up on the video.
Oh, is it? Wow, this should be my mistake. But anyways, hi, my name is Selma. I'm a final year PhD student at the University of Queensland in Brisbane. I'm supposed to submit my thesis next month, hopefully, and that's why I'm attending this session.
Excellent, excellent. And what are you looking for? What's your career ambition at this point?
I'm looking for a career in academia. So I have been receiving some advice from some mentors about my CV, what should I be looking at, how to network with people in conferences and stuff like that. But I haven't started applying for jobs yet, to be honest. And I wanted to know what are the things that I'm supposed to be doing while I apply. Should I go for, networking as a way to secure a job, or apply for positions that are currently open? Which one would be more effective?
Who wants to jump in?
Well, I mean, I don't work a lot in academia space. Dave probably can help you there better. But I'd say both. You'd want to network, definitely, and get advice from someone who works in academia and what they look for in resumes and cover letters, how to address selection criteria, what sort of skills will make you stand out. Building a resume takes a long time, and it's good to have people to give you honest opinion, and share it around, and start on both ends. I'd say I think that's as much as I can help you with this.
Look, I would concur on multiple fronts. I'm actually not an expert in academia either. And when I get inquiries about academia, I use my networks to refer you to people in academia to talk about that. But there are a few principles. I mean, if you're doing an application for academia, or if you're doing an application for government, one of the key aspects is address every selection criteria. You can be a lot more fast and loose in commerce and industry, but government and academia tend to have quite rigorous panel-based recruitment. They try to be as fair as can be made, as the recruitment process can be made. See, I'm in industry. I own my own company. I can employ my family if I want to. Government can't do that. So there tends to be a lot more structure to the process to make it fair. I would also, on the question of networking versus application, well, networking tends to be, in my mind, a longer term thing. It's possible to network intensively over a short period of time, but it takes a lot of hard work to do it. So yeah, I would say both, but the fact remains, for people graduating university, 70% of them find their job through a network rather than advertised positions.
Oh, wow.
So even at the graduate level, it is surprisingly high based on statistics that I have read. So yeah, use your network. And we at RACI Careers are happy to help with that, Salma.
Oh, thank you very much. Because as a matter of fact, I know that most of the positions that are available in the research groups now are, well, they already have someone in mind, probably even before they announce the job. And that's why I know it's really very important to network and not just, drop application or cold email. Yep. But at the same time, I mean, who should I rely on? I mean, it's good that now we are back to conferences and we can meet other people in face to face. But still, how much should we expect of our supervisors, direct supervisors? Are we supposed to go and ask them, hey, if you know of a position or someone who's helping?
Why not? Yeah. They got you to do a PhD in their department. Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because usually I'm always in that place, like, should I ask or should I just wait to be asked?
No, I think your reference is almost there, where you were studying, especially if you want to stay on in that university and work in that university and putting yourself forward as, this is where I would like to work. I don't think there's anything wrong in that at all.
Absolutely.
It tells people what you want, because they will assume you want to do something else. So, no, do that networking and tell people where you want to be.
Yeah.
Where are you based, Salma?
Thank you.
Oh, Queensland. You said
Queensland, yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Can I also suggest, just as an idea, look, typically only 1 in 7 PhD graduates go on to have an academic career.
Yes.
So particularly in the current environment where there's so many good jobs available and they're crying out for good applicants, could I suggest maybe broaden your thinking to beyond direct academia to government academia, CSIRO. I mean, you're in Queensland. There is a lot of private pharmaceutical and biochemical roles in particularly Brisbane. There could be stuff that has all the hallmarks of what you like about academia, but in the private sector.
100%. Actually, I was talking to one of my mentors and I told him that before finishing my degree, I'm interested to do a placement in CSIRO just because they have that perfect environment between industry and academia. So he started sending emails on my behalf, actually, and I ended up securing a placement in a project that's in collaboration with between Monash and CSIRO, which was perfect for me, and I really liked it. But at the same time, I do acknowledge that such projects are not very common, kind of, or usually they are advertised on CSIRO or something like that. So unless if you know someone who knows someone, then it's quite going to be challenging to find a position like that.
You got to remember the majority, I think it's about 75% of RACI members are on the academic side. So we do have, that puts roughly 3,000 academics in RACI alone. So there's plenty of opportunity to network.
Yep, true.
We can facilitate that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I guess most of the time, one of the biggest problem for new graduates is that they often feel the others are not approachable. However, once they start talking to them, they will be surprised of how easy it is. I mean, you just need to smile and talk about yourself with confidence, and that's it.
Can I suggest, Salma, we recorded an event last year. It was called Ask Me Anything with a man called Philip Abraham. You'll find it on our YouTube RACI Careers Development channel. You might find that a very interesting discussion because he talked about how he got his first industrial job by sitting down and having a chat with an academic whose name he recognized from a paper.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
it was
really
a really
interesting.
interesting story. You might find that quite illuminating, that discussion.
Yep. Actually, earlier this week, I came from a conference in Sydney, the Nanomed conference, and I was surprised of the number of deep conversations that I had with, professors who are known group leaders, and I usually just, follow them on Twitter just so that I'm aware of their research and their publications and what they do. But I have never imagined myself even talking to them or being even in one circle with them. So. And once this conversation starts, you find like, actually, this is very easy and you have a lot to offer. It's not like you are going to be a burden or something like that. And they are looking for people, and that's the truth. But oftentimes we don't realize that, and that's unfortunate, I guess.
Yeah. I, of course, trust you're going to the RACI National Congress next week.
Actually, no, no, because I was like, okay, I need to submit my thesis very soon.
Okay,
So,
at the very least, I suggest you take a look at the RACI website. One of
yeah.
the events that the local ECCG, the Early Career Chemist Group, is running is they're running one of these Careers Hack events as a live event at Congress.
Oh, okay.
It's going at least to that.
Definitely, I will. Thanks for the recommendation. I will.
No worries. Now, Diksha, you had a question as that conversation was going on?
No question. Like, I would just wanted to say, if she finishes, can I ask some question after she's done?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you suggest me some points or some things that I should consider while I am starting my PhD so that I end up getting jobs after I finish? I mean, I still have a lot of time, I know, but then time is never lot. So I think I should start now onwards. So any suggestions that I should start doing from now?
I'm very interested in your ideas. Yeah.
It depends what you want to do after your PhD. That's the big, what is it that you want to do? But when we look at PhD candidates, we look for project management skills, the actual, process. And if you've done a course or, a study around project management, if you have a qualification, chemistry skills in terms of maybe using analytical equipment or, managing maybe dangerous chemicals, risk assessments, something that's transferable to the industry, if that's where you want to go. For government, it's mostly project management, risk assessments, quality work. So anything like that you can get your hands on is probably the most common that, could help you. But again, it depends what you want to do. Maybe you want to end up in academia. Maybe you want to lecture. Who knows?
I'm very curious, Patricia. Does ALS employ a lot of PhDs?
Probably not, because we do find people get bored with the process work. So we have them in for a while and then eventually they will go out. But to be honest, at the stages companies are at now, even keeping somebody for a year is better. We're getting somebody really good in for a year who's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of ability to do the job, and the job is almost too easy. So we're still happy to see people coming through and then sort of going back out the other end. We actually had somebody once in Perth, can't remember his name now, Tomic rings a bell, but he was a teacher from university. And I think he was just taking a bit of a break, and he came in absolutely fantastic because he'd spent 30 plus years teaching chemistry. So he was just a great addition to the team. He sort of became, I suppose, dad to people who are coming in young and fresh, straight out of uni. So, and it was just a pleasure, it's an absolute pleasure to have around. And eventually he did go back in to do some sort of project work in university again, but we always knew, we knew we'd never have him forever. But it was just great to have that different personality in there and that different drive and that different motivation. So yeah, we do still get some in, but I think the work sometimes gets a little bit sort of repetitive and it's production based. So don't last long, but sometimes a year is a year is good. We can
well, it's funny. I worked in the same company for the first 7 years of my career. I never did the same role for longer than 18 months.
Yeah.
I constantly moved and moved and moved and moved, and it was bloody interesting because I was always learning then,
Yeah. Yeah, if you go into instrumentation, you've sort of got quality as your next area, or team leaders. That's one way you can go into industry and remain and enjoy it, because you want to be a leader, you want to lead a team rather than just working by yourself. So that's sometimes where people go into a different area. They have the PhD, but they actually say, well, I'm really good with people, I'm really good with managing people, and I want to continue doing that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, of course, at the beginning of my career, I became an expert in AAS, and there's probably not an AAS left in Australia. It's a technology that's just become completely out of date, and I never got my hands on an ICP. So, the only thing about ICP is that, you have to sacrifice a black rooster on the full moon if you want to get a really good results. A dark art. So, Diksha, are you okay if we move on to Eddie? Okay, Eddie, please join us.
Hello, I'm here.
So tell us about yourself and your career aspirations.
Lovely. So I am a recent honours graduate from the University of Tasmania, specialising in analytical chemistry.
And Eddie, career emails. Sorry, great.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, thank you for your email the other day. I appreciated it. Yes, but career aspirations, I'd like to be able to get a job down here in industry in Tasmania. And if not, I'm still keen to go back into academia and pursue a PhD, but I'd prefer to go into industry down here. However, it's a little bit hard with the laboratory market down here being quite niche, or specializing in mining up in the Northwest. And then I'd have to go live in the Northwest, which is not exactly what I'm prepared to do at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're exactly as you've just described there on the tin, which is lovely. Who doesn't love Star Wars? We've got a facility in the north. It's in Burnie, but it's just a sample prep facility, and all our labs are then on the mainland in Australia. So it's
I did a huge amount of work through that lab in Burnie. You bought it, did you?
Yeah. We've got metallurgy there, and geochemistry. I think we did buy
across the road.
Oh, get out of here! Yeah. I know it was bought a while ago. We've just got a new manager in there, but we're limited with what we have to offer in Tasmania, and I suppose that's one reason we do that, is because you're more likely to get your chemists on the mainland, and therefore that's where our labs are based, in Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth. For that reason, and Tasmania, unfortunately, is considered regional, so it might be a case of you go back into academic life, or see yourself sort of traveling on. I don't think it would ever change. It just it works as it is now, which is a feeder. It's a feeder facility to a laboratory that's on the mainland, and it's. It'd be unlikely that we go any further than that. Saying that though, Orange, Mount Isa, we've got a couple of chemists in there. So occasionally we'll build enough that we say, well, yes, we need a chemist, but it will be probably one chemist, and that will be it. Yeah. So it's a really limited field, unfortunately.
Have you looked at Scottsdale? Is that somewhere you'd want to go? Launceston, Scottsdale?
Launceston, Scottsdale. Currently not. I'd love to be in Hobart, but I'll be open to moving probably soon enough.
There's Department of Defence in Scottsdale. They do food, they do ration packs, and lots of interesting food nutrition projects. We do a lot of work with them. We've placed a lot of chemists and nutritionists and microbiologists there. I'm expecting roles to come up now after this financial year and the government and who gets what money and budgets. So everyone's involved now, but they do have permanent roles and they have contract roles, which we help them with. But I think if you go on their website, Department of Defence, and you look for Tasmania, for Scottsdale site, you should just stay on top of their opportunities at an APS level or contract level. Really, really nice group to work with.
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you.
Sorry, I may have missed it. Did you say what your field of expertise was, or your preferred field of work?
Analytical chemistry.
Analytical
chemistry,
chemistry.
so laboratory work would be nice.
So
But I could do synthesis.
the other thing that might be available in and we might be able to help hook you up with some contacts is everywhere in Australia, city, metro and regional, there's always companies doing environmental chemistry, like going out into the field, sampling contaminated sites and all that sort of stuff. And that can be a good place for a chemist to get a foot in as well.
Right.
So, because there will be companies that do that down in Tassie. And they're probably based out of either Hobart or Lonnie. I doubt they'd be based out of Burnie. Pardon me, sorry. So we have a sister organisation called CTAC, the Society for Ecology and Toxicological Analytical Chemistry, or something like that. They actually sponsor a bunch of mentees to go through the RACI mentoring program. So I'm sure if we hook up with people on that side, they might be able to see what the network is like down in Tassie. Also, do you know Nathan Keeler?
I do know Nathan Keeler. I see him most days, actually.
Right. Okay, fine. He was for a while the branch president in Tassie, so he would know who the networks are. It's a relatively small branch in Tassie, but you can always reach out to Elise Scanlon-Brett, who is the branch coordinator for Victoria and Tasmania, and she'd be able to help you with networking as well. And of course, us as well. We're always happy to help.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as everybody says, it's a relatively small market in Tassie. I mean, I thought Adelaide is hard. Tassie is harder.
It's getting ridiculous these days. There's about 100 applicants for every job that I've applied for.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. But look, I do want to encourage you and make sure you understand. If you understand how the system works and you do your project right, you do your approach right, you can always find a good job. I mean, I don't know whether you know this, UTS in Sydney puts out more forensic science graduates in a year than there are forensic science jobs in Australia.
Oh, of course.
And yet we had a mentee a few years ago who, through the training, through the practice and all that sort of stuff, she was the only one in her graduating class who got a job in forensics, and she got her dream job at the AFP.
Wow.
So it's doable with the right support and the right effort on your part. It's doable.
Right.
Otherwise, you can always come north and enjoy
hang out on the mainland.
The mainland, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, how many apples can you possibly eat? Okay. Anything else we can help you with today, Eddie?
I think there was one specific question that I had from a position that I was going for. One of the essential requirements. I was wondering how to answer it in a way that seemed effective. Where did it go? Wait.
I love it.
So it's sorry, I've got it right up. So it's demonstrating proficiency in reviewing and understanding data, including data processing, interpretation of analytical results. So how would I be able to present that in such a way through like a conventional written method?
I got two people who I want to completely defer to for this one.
Yeah. What is it? Yeah. Is it relating to a specific instrument? What sort of data are you interpreting?
Well, it's a hydrochemistry position.
Okay. So you've interpreted data and ran experiments during your honours?
Yeah.
That's it. Talk
Sounds
about that.
Enough.
Simple as that. Simple as that.
Easy.
So always use examples and just talk about what tools you've used to interpret data. If you use the software, did you do reports? What happened if there were deviations? Just talk about your experience in your honours, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right.
Another thing you can do, if they haven't mentioned the type of analysis, jump on the NATA website and look them up, because if they're a NATA registered lab, there'll be details about what they do, and then you you can sort of sneak into your application some knowledge that isn't in the resume or isn't in the job ad that then shows that you have the get up and go to find out more.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
That would really excite anyone reading your answers. Be like, this person bothered to research us.
You know, I've said it 1,000 times. An employer wants to know that you want this job, not a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything showing that you want to work at that company and why you want to work at that company helps, rather than just I want a job. Is it's good advice. I think sometimes we don't say it enough, but it's we want you to stay with us and want to work with us. So anything that you can sort of demonstrate, and that's usually a cover letter, and that's usually where that I've looked at your company, it really aligns with my values, all that kind of thing. Comes across really well.
Yeah. And we do have multiple training videos from previous workshops on how to do a really good resume and how to do a really good cover letter and how to do really good job applications and all that sort of stuff. There's 50, I think there's nearly 60 videos on the RACI Careers Development YouTube channel. So there's lots of stuff to draw upon. So.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much for your help.
Absolutely. Now, as we progress, everybody who's spoken tonight, if you could just, as we go, pop into the chat your permission to keep you in the recording, that'd be great. So we have 4 other people here. We've got Marta, Charlie, Zuyun, and Chandni. Any of you interested in stepping up and having a chat to our experts? Charlie, I think you've just unmuted.
Oh, did I? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Would you like to?
I wasn't meant to unmute. I was, so I might as well. Give me a moment. But yeah, so I'm a PhD student, halfway through my PhD. But I just figured I just want to get a good scope of what's out there pretty much. So I'm in the middle of my PhD, 1.5 years in, but so it's easy to get lost in time when you do a PhD, obviously, when you get focused and start passionate about your work. But, if you don't start early thinking about the future, then it'll be too late at the end because you're balancing your thesis and your job application and where you're going to go. So that's the purpose of why I'm here. Where I want to end up, I think I want to end up in a balance between academia and research. So right now I'm doing an industry PhD. Cool. So working with an industry company so my project helps the industry, but it also gives me a balance of better mentorship, but also more available access to how the industry works and what they actually focus on. So that's what I want to do. I want to try to find a balance and try to continue that pathway rather than go pure academia or pure industry, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. Look, I didn't say this before when we were talking with Diksha about a similar topic, but I always say this: when you're doing your PhD, network, because you're going to get to the end of your PhD and either you're going to go into academia, in which case having a network of contacts outside of academia will increase the chances that you'll bring money in as projects. The more money you bring in, the faster you will be promoted. Or you'll go out into commerce and industry, in which case having a substantive network will help your job search. So either way, it's completely win-win. I would be diverse about my networking. I would make sure that you have a really good LinkedIn profile. And we also have videos about using LinkedIn effectively. So that's my 2 cents worth.
In all honesty, for a recruiter, when we have an applicant who's doing a PhD with someone in the industry, a collaboration is really exciting because you're already halfway there and you're applying for industry jobs. So you're getting a sense of the world in terms of the commercial side of things, how much something costs, that there are restrictions, that, you get to, deal with different stakeholders, not just in academia, but in the industry. So I think what you've chosen to do is really, really good.
Yeah. I think also in academia, would you say this, Jovana? In academia, it's easy to forget that there is a world outside academia. I would think that for every academic job, there would be 5 or 6 private research jobs that are just as academic as academia.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that have all of those advantages without the politics and the everything that goes on in a university environment.
The admin.
You know, I will say, you know, when I left university, I went into a research job in the private field straight away, and I did a PhD every year. You know, like that's the amount of research that I was required to turn out every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate. So, you know, just working with the people in the industry, a lot of them are working on their own research projects. So you know, it's not just you do a 9 to 5. Some people get given a project to, like, you know, increase the efficiency of something, and it is as hard as a research project. It's no joke. So yeah, exciting stuff.
Even in my company these days, I would produce a 200 to 300 page research report once to twice a year.
Yep.
You know,
Amazing.
which is not dissimilar to a PhD thesis.
It's not. No.
And Charlie, have you reached out to get a mentor?
So I guess I'm fortunate enough to have an industry mentorship as my co-supervisor, but I think just reaching out. So obviously going to events, making sure that, you know, you can go to, like, you know, I think RACI meant like hosts like a mentorship with industry. I've applied for that. Well, looking into applying next year, I think it closed before I knew about it this year. But just going out.
You always apply late.
Yeah. Always miss it by like in one day, huh? But you know, just reaching out there and getting as much mentorship actually gives you more mentors, so you can actually, like, you know, for networking, but also just having a wider connection actually helps you grow as a person or something like that. So yeah. And getting
the other thing I would suggest is get involved while you've got time in your university. Get involved in your local ECCG or Young Chemist group in your state for RACI. It's a great way of raising your personal profile, becoming very well known to a broad network of industry people, not just early career chemists.
Yeah, well, it'll be terrifying next week, right? Because it'll be the Congress.
Yeah, and
I think one of the events I'm going for is riding a bike. So with that event, I'll just, you know, I don't know anyone there, but it'll be like, oh, I'm just here to go for a cycling ride with these chemists. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, there's also among our many videos is how to network, how to walk into a room full of strangers, tips and tricks about how to walk into a room full of strangers and make effective connections, even if you're feeling shy.
Yeah. But I'm glad I'm starting early. So halfway through my PhD, I think, you know, just starting a bit early. So at the end, I'm not stressing about this too much. So yeah.
No, that's great. That's
good idea.
The sooner you start, the better off you will be. Do it right, you can graduate with a job already waiting for you. Yep.
I'll definitely leave it to someone else. So I can't leave it to me all night. So yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Charlie. So Marta, I believe you're a mentee in the program. Are you available?
Yes. Hello.
How are you doing? I do recognize your name correctly.
Good. Yes, you're all correct. Yeah, so I'm Victoria, and I'm doing my research in, like, my undergrad degree was pharmaceutical science, but I'm a chemist, like medicinal chemist, with some training in chemical biology as well. So yeah, looking for work right now. I've only applied for one job so far, and that was because it was someone, it was like my panel committee member advertising position, so it felt very appropriate, and like I ticked off every box, so it was very easy to see the application and be like, this is written for me. But other than that, yeah, not a lot of experience. I have about I think 4 months to go. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, obviously going to the Congress next week, and also hoping to go to international conference in September. So got some networking coming up, but other than that, kind of clueless on how to look for work.
So what sort of jobs are you looking for, and where? What state are you in? I don't remember.
I'm in Victoria, but like I'm not set on staying here. So I'm open to going overseas, but also open to going to other states. I'm hoping to continue doing lab-based work, just because I really enjoy that. I enjoyed managing my own project. So hopefully I want to stay in research and preferably academia, but I think my main thing is I want to keep my lab-based work, because that's what so fulfills me, I guess, on a daily basis. But yeah.
I love that, Marta. I love people who love what they do. You know, I spent more years training to work in a lab than I ever actually worked in a lab, because it wasn't for me. But I love that, you know, you find what fits you and then you do it. It's great.
Yeah. Pretty much it was like, I think I did a third year, or even before that, like maybe it was end of second year, I did a lab-based project for 2 weeks, and I was like, I want to do this until I get sick of it. But yeah.
I mean, you talked about wanting to go to a different state or you know, globally, and I suppose trying to get into a company that has those opportunities. You know, as soon as you said global, it was like, yep, me. But then you said research and academia, and we're not, you know, we're not a research lab, we're a production lab, but certainly that sort of state opportunities, and we're getting a lot of people now moving. A lot of people coming to WA now, which is great. Once upon a time, you couldn't get anybody to come to WA, but we're getting quite a few people coming over here, which is good. But trying to find a company where you know, they're not just based in Victoria, that they're based in another couple of states as well, and even globally. And then we love people who can move. We love people who are willing to move around and, you know, set up a new lab somewhere else, that type of thing. So yeah, putting that on your CV is a good sell, and looking for a company, if you can, that's got that sort of either national or global reach, and then you can, you know, you've got the opportunities to move them when you want to do so, and it fits, you know, what you want to do with your life, which is obviously move around, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and have it on your LinkedIn profile in your actual introduction. You know, happy to relocate, very much open. To any opportunity like that. So yeah, that would definitely help you.
Now, reminding you, Yovana, the big centres of pharma and med science in Australia are Victoria and sort of Melbourne and Brisbane, right?
Yeah. We've got some good companies in Sydney. Got some complementary medicine manufacturers, and so, you know, there's but mostly Melbourne. Melbourne's got quite a bit happening.
A long time ago, when I was a recruitment consultant, I worked a lot with one pharmaceutical company, and about 3 years later, after I finished, they got caught out with some product recall, and the company went tits up. So there goes my only contact in the in the space.
Yeah, when you're ready, when you want to start applying, definitely register with us. You've got my name now. Just, you know, add me on your LinkedIn and register with us when you're ready, and we'll help you with your resume, and we'll see what's out there. If you decide to go into the industry, obviously, or we work with government a lot as well. There might be something interesting there.
I'm very interested to hear, Yovana, that government does so much recruitment through private recruiters. So that really surprises me, but I'm delighted.
Yeah, we're on many panels, so many panels, and a lot of it is R&D. Some of it is regulatory work, you know, some is QC. We're doing some really interesting roles. You were talking about before sampling around Australia. Lots of interesting work. I don't know, that's how their panels work. That's how the recruitment works. So.
Now, Marta, I'd also point out that as a mentee, we sent you about a month ago or 2 months ago an Excel file with about 100 contacts in it or so, including recruitment consultants all around Australia, who are friendly to the RACI careers program. So, by the way, Yovana, I've only got yourself and Daniel. If you have any other colleagues, like in other states or whatever, that you want us to have on our list.
We've got Canberra and Sydney. I can send you their details. You can add them.
Yes. And we will be publishing an updated list in the not too distant future. We've had quite a few more volunteers. We've introduced a thing where instead of just having one-on-one mentors, we're also having what we're calling ad hoc mentors, people who they're not committing to be a mentor to one person for a whole year, but they're happy to have a chat or a coffee with someone from time to time. So
I think I've always known that I'm okay traveling, but it was a very good call that I should probably make it known to others. So
Absolutely.
yeah, my LinkedIn and Twitter and whatnot. That, but yeah, I think one thing I've heard, which I don't know how accurate it is, but I've heard from people in academia that recruitment agents are often used for more senior positions in academia. When it comes to the more junior positions, like people, the people who are don't often bother with recruitment agents. So I guess that's why one reason I wrote it off. But yeah, I have used the link, the list of contacts to reach out to other people in academia. So I appreciate that.
excellent, excellent. All right. Well, we've got two other participants tonight. We've got Zuyun and Chantani. If either of you would like to join us for a discussion, you're welcome to, or we can, start wrapping things up, whichever you prefer. I'll give you a moment. Oh, there you go, Zuyun. Yep. Hi.
Hi. So I'm a PhD student in Melbourne Uni. So I end on the third year, so about half a year to go before finish. So actually I've seen a lot of opportunities, for example, postdoc or some job, which is either they want you to start right away, like next semester, or they want a full-time. But I was told that if you want to seek for a postdoc, you have to start at around 1 year before you graduate. I just don't know how these two would. I just think it's contradict to each other. So and right now I'm want to look for some work opportunities as I go. So I was wondering what kind of job or what type of it that I can possibly look for during my PhD.
I guess in terms of the postdoc and that conflicting advice, I'm not sure I would know the right answer. Maybe best to speak to your supervisors there. In terms of looking for work while you're still doing your PhD, I think it's probably not going to be very beneficial to you. I think you start networking because, when we're working on a role, we want someone now. We want, them to start tomorrow if possible. So if you're ready to start in 3-4 months, you're not going to get anywhere with that process. However, if you start connecting with recruitment agencies, with companies you might want to be working with, if you start networking, we can actually start helping you build your resume before you even start applying. And you can meet people and connect with people on LinkedIn and in the industry that once you're ready to start, sending through your applications, you'll have a lot of the groundwork done, I think.
Yeah. You are asking some fairly specific academic questions, and I'm certainly not
sorry.
answer this one, Zuyun. But I think you are also a mentee in the program, aren't you, Zuyun?
Yes.
Yes. See, the funny thing is the program's grown so much. I don't get to know everyone personally like I used to, and I feel bad about it. But Zuyun, again, you've got a list of all the mentors in the program plus contacts. There's a lot of people you could reach out to ask, who are in academia or in CSIRO or in NMI and places like that, who could give you quite intelligent answers that we possibly could not. Informed. better choice of words.
Yeah, thank you.
You got to remember, Zuyun, I might be the only person in the room tonight who doesn't have a PhD. So I left university like I was shot from a cannon. Yeah. And I joke sometimes, Zuyun, that the only reason I run this mentoring program is so that one day my university will give me an honorary PhD.
Yeah, they should.
So
I'm going to the event, the chocolate and the events tomorrow. So yeah, probably get some
Chocolate
network
event?
there.
Awesome.
Yeah, sounds really great, but just by the name.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, does anyone have any more questions before we wrap up? All right. Well, then I'll do my closing spiel. By the way, Zuyun and Charlie, if you could just add your permissions to include you in the recording. You know, I just have to. I probably don't have to get permission, but it's better if I do. It's a good courtesy. Okay, tonight has been another event as part of the RACI Careers Development Program. Through webinars, networking events, mentoring, lectures and workshops, the RACI Careers Development Program aims to help graduating students and early career chemists get the best possible start in their careers. I'm delighted to say that we have just embarked on 2 new projects to create new and innovative ranges of webinars, events, and training courses, including micro-credentialing. And I'm excited about the new offerings that we will be generating. For now, keep an eye on the events page of the RACI website, www.raci.org.au, for all of the upcoming offerings. In the meantime, our thanks very much to Jovana and Patricia tonight, and to our sponsors, Envirolab Laboratory Credit Union and DCS Technical. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Lovely to meet you all.
Thanks.
Nice to see you, Patricia, again.
Again, yeah. Cheers.
I'll stop the recording.